Thank you everyone for joining us today for our short presentation on how to pitch your business. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Michael Troyer. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Anna, and a happy birthday, as someone has already noted.
Oh,
The world needs to know it's your birthday, a very young birthday.
Yeah.
Welcome to everyone who's viewing and listening in this morning. We appreciate your being here. Data tells us that there's about a 50-50 chance that some of our businesses won't be here 5 years from now. This webinar, Small Business Survival, is dedicated to helping you improve on that very statistic. So each month, Anna and I are going to share a tip or a tool to help you survive, and we hope to flourish as a small business. Sometimes we may offer even 2 or 3 tips. The webinar, the way we structured it, is scheduled for 30 minutes. We want to take no more than 15 to 20 minutes to share our ideas. And then we want to hear questions from you for those last 10 minutes. So come at us with whatever you have, and we'll do our best to offer an answer or promise to come back to you with something. So thank you for watching us today. Let's get at it. Our topic today is how to pitch your business.
Well, Michael and I, we are working with a lot of small business owners, and what we kind of detected was that a lot of small business owners have struggled pitching their business. And we just want to share with you how easy it is to pitch your business. And we pretty much put together just 3 steps. If you can follow these 3 steps, no more than 3 steps, you'll be very successful pitching your business. And we will go in details with every step we are recommending to you. But before you start even pitching your business, we would like you to pay attention to how are you going to ease your audience, because it makes or breaks your presentation. And I don't know whether you noticed, but Michael was stating that we're scheduled to be in a meeting for 30 minutes, but we will take only 15 to 20 minutes of your time this morning. What he's trying to do is he's trying to put your brain at ease, to make sure that you pay attention, because we know that you will pay attention to us right now for 15 minutes, and you will be more alert hearing what we'll be saying, rather than thinking about, okay, now I signed up for this webinar and I probably will go into this 30 minutes, and after the first minute you will kind of turn off your brain and you'll start thinking about what will happen or what kind of task you have in front of you after the webinar, without even hearing us what you have to say. So our recommendation is, if you schedule a meeting to pitch your product or services, make sure that your first sentence, your first communication to your audience is, I know that we scheduled the meeting for 30 minutes, but I will take only 15 minutes of your time to pitch our product or service. So Michael, let's talk about the first step, the problem.
Well, let me go back to put that slide back for just a minute. Notice that we're offering you 3 steps: present the problem, present the solution, and then give them the outcome that you expect. Now let's go to that first slide. So we've tried to set this up in sort of the same way we're telling you to present a pitch. So if we go to the problem slide, consider that the problem we see is that small business owners struggle with pitching their business. So to introduce the problem, you need a hook, something intriguing, novel, maybe even a little humorous. Probably what I just said isn't really there. But what if I said, I'm tired of people always falling asleep in front of me? That's the problem. I'm not holding their attention. They're not interested in what I have to say. So the problem is to provide them with something that catches their attention immediately. I don't care what it is. But I don't like people falling asleep in front of me as one of the ways to get them to chuckle a little bit. They've had that experience, at least people looking away or checking their watch. After you've done that, we both want you to think about being really simple and clear in what you present. Don't go to this big complex presentation. So identify the customer's problem that you're trying to solve. So the problem in this case is, how do you pitch your business? That's your problem. Or as an alternative, Anna, what about when we look at a job? So the
Well,
job,
you may talk about writing a good pitch with the hook for your presentation, or you are trying to complete a job you're trying to identify, for example. But I just wanted to add to Michael is like when you're looking for the problem, you have to make sure that you are doing deep research, that you really, really are looking for actual problem for your customers. Because a lot of times what will happen is you create your service or you create your product and you're in love with your product or service, but this does not solve a problem, or it does not solve an urgent problem, or does not solve a pain the customer has. Because if you don't focus on the pain or the urgency of the customer, they may like your product, but they will not pay to get your product. So you have to be very careful when you're identifying the problems at task. So make sure that you research deeply that really this is the problem. And Michael also mentioned that you have to make sure that when you communicate, you have to be, you have to get the attention in the first 7 seconds.
Anna and I are both involved in a mentor protege program. Anna's really the founder and designer and developer of that program. We have pitches made to us as mentors. And I have to say, many times they're talking about the product or the service they want to offer, but they don't tell us the problem they're going to solve. And I'm back to what Anna was just saying, is you become a little bit desperate when you hear a pitch that doesn't tell you the problem they're solving, who they're serving, in other words, the customer, before they get into the product or service. So that's kind of the point of this first issue, the problem. Should we move on to the second?
Absolutely. And then once you identify the problem, or you kind of start with the problem, you capture your attention, the second step, you have to offer the solution. And the solution pretty much is your service or your product.
So in Anna's and my case, what we're saying for that second step is we have a 3-step process to prepare a killer pitch about your business. So that's our solution to the struggle we all have making a pitch of our business. By the way, think about it. The pitch may be a B2B kind of pitch. I want to get business from a person, or it may be in front of a venture capital. Slightly different, but still this all holds true for both of those. So now you describe the product that you want to offer or the service. And if you have some visuals, would be useful at that point. What else do we need to do, Anna?
Well, and make sure that when you're talking about the solution to your customer, don't go into technicalities, because a lot of mistakes the small business owners are doing is they will go and they will describe exactly what is the color, let's say, of your pen you're trying to sell and things like that. They don't care. Honestly, they don't care. They care that, the problem you identify already, they can use your solution or your product or service. That's pretty much what you have to give them the benefits. So I know that in the past, and if some of you have listened to our podcast, Lessons in Success, we had an episode talking about FAB. This is features, advantages, and benefits. If you want more in details, you can always listen to it. But what we want to just focus today is like on benefits. Talk about right away, the solution to your customers is the benefits they will have by using your product. And Michael, I know that you have a very interesting example for our audience today.
In terms of the benefits, yes. Well, I thought of a couple. One, in my time frame of where I am in life, the 5 o'clock shadow was always a big issue. That was the problem. But it was a 5 a.m. shadow, not so much the 5 p.m. shadow. And some crazy person out there invented something called a razor that could take that shadow away, so your face would be clear of whiskers. Nowadays, of course, everybody's wearing a 2-day beard because that's kind of in, but in those days it wasn't. So if you want to look professional, you better shave. The solution then was the razor that took away that shadow that was always there after a night's sleep. The benefit is that you look professional. That's the benefit we're talking about. Don't really care as much how we get there as whether we get to that benefit, as Anna's saying. I want to touch on for just a second that when you're in front of a venture capitalist, they often have asked for a slide deck ahead of time, so they really know what you're about. They're really looking at you more than they now know kind of what your what your solution and what your benefit, your outcome is going to be. So keep in mind that that may become a very improvisational conversation, kind of a give and take, and be ready for that. But it's a chance for you to show how creative you can be, how adaptable to their questions and their feedback. Let your sense of humor show itself. And while we say it's always important to show the passion you have both for the problem and the solution, don't overdo it. Do let them see the passion, but they also want to see that you have a calm approach, that's the strength in the leadership abilities that you have and in your own confidence. They're also evaluating you on personality. In some cases, particularly for venture capitalists, far more important than the fundamentals of running a business. Anna, what do we want to say about personality and what they're looking for at that point?
Well, I mean, you have to make sure that you show your character, because when Michael was talking about VCs, they always look at the entrepreneur character. If you're looking for funding from VC, and I think we should probably put a totally different webinar on that, because we can deep dive on that. But yeah, they're looking for your character and what is your trustworthiness, because they know that you will be carrying your product and service. So Michael is saying, go ahead, Michael.
I'm also thinking, think of some of the ads you see. It's funny, but and here now I'm back to B2B as well as a venture capitalist. I can look at a person and say, I don't trust that person. I don't, the attitude, the approach they make to me doesn't appeal to me. I think we have windows being sold all across our TV spectrum now. Everybody's selling us windows. There's one or two that I look at and say, I wouldn't buy a window from that person. I don't care what they offer me in price. There's something about the style that turns me off. I don't trust them. Their character just doesn't come around very authentic, if you want to use the word. So that's the kind of things that Anna and I are talking about there. We need to show ourselves. We need to give them a reason.
And simplicity is extremely important when you're communicating. Don't assume that customers will understand. Even if they're in your field, they will not all people will understand what you're talking about if you're not talking in simple language.
And be open to any questions, particularly in the VC world, but also in the B2B selling world. You need to be open to questions and give them really solid but clear and simple feedback. So have in mind what questions might come your way and how you want to answer them. Kind of like going in the courtroom. It should never be a surprise question. You should be prepared for all of them, if you will. That's building that trust. And you're showing an attitude of being interested in feedback as well. They have a good idea, you listen, you offer your thoughts back.
Yeah, and you have to be adaptable and change your pitch if you have to. But at this point, and just think about the first step is the problem you're addressing. The second step is the solution. And the third step is
the outcome. We always try to say that together. Yeah. So in our case, in our topic this morning, how to pitch your business, the outcome we want is a well-stated pitch that brings you new business, ensures that your business is surviving, and that you decide to continue watching Small Business Survival. That's the outcome we want. We want to help and serve you, and you want a good pitch that brings in new business. So we're saying that what we're trying to do this morning is solve some of your problems with a 3-step process to preparing that pitch. Keep in mind. Go ahead.
And then and when you notice, what we're trying to do is, I don't know whether we kind of artificially put it together, but the outcome, you're trying to paint the picture to your clients. Think about the problem, that the problem is scaring them. They are not able to sleep at night. That's the problem you already identified. You already gave them the solution. And now the outcome is, once they use your product or service, they're happy. So the outcome, you have to paint them a very, very happy, bright picture. So think about like kind of a story. You're telling them a story, and the end is happy end. Everyone likes happy ending, and they'll be more likely to get your product.
Let's put these things, all 3 of these things together for a moment, because I have an illustration. So in a pitch, we want to first present their the problem that we're focused on. And remember, it helps to have a hook, a story, something that captures their attention right away. Then we have to describe the solution that we're offering, a tool or a tip in our case. And then we have to help them understand the outcome that we're all seeking. So as you look at that slide, I'm a woodworker. I bought a jig a week ago to help me attach hinges to doors and kitchen cabinets. Sounded really great. I bought the pitch, bought the product. Then yesterday I had to find another item that they don't sell with that jig that I bought that I also have to have. Went to a local big box hardware store, and there was the drill bit that I needed. It happened to be part of a jig doing exactly what the jig I bought would do. And now I compare the two. The outcome I was promised is there with the jig I bought at the local hardware store. It's not there in the original product. That is, they understood my problem. The solution they gave me, one is much better than the other and half the price. So one of them is going back. Now, what's the outcome? The outcome is twofold. One, I'm going to get my hinges in place. But second, I probably won't buy from that first provider, that first store in the future, because the problem they understood. The solution wasn't very well explained, and it doesn't work very well. So all along the way of those 3 steps, we can lose a customer. And that's why the pitch we make is so important, to think of in terms of those 3 steps. All right.
And we would like just for you to make sure that you cut through the white noise, because everyone right now is bombarded with a lot of noise. I mean, we call it white noise. So if you can attract your customers in the first 7 seconds and you follow this formula, we guarantee you that you will be successful.
And if you give them lots of complicated information, as Anna was saying, you're going to lose them. They just can't follow you fast enough, especially if you talk too fast. So to finish it off, we want to say, quoting Anthony Greenback, to live through an impossible situation, you don't need to have the reflexes of a Grand Prix driver or the muscles of a Hercules or the mind of an Einstein. You simply need to know what to do. We hope the 3 steps will tell you what to do in terms of the next time you need to make a pitch, whether to a business you want to sell to, or a customer, or perhaps a venture capitalist. I think, Anna, we're ready to take any questions people might have.
Yeah, absolutely. We would like you to use the chat button, and I will moderate the questions. And just before we open it for the questions, I want to let you know that right now, after the session and after your questions, we are putting a worksheet together with Michael. And if you would like to receive a copy, it will be 1 page, just kind of the first, second, and third steps, and kind of a worksheet for you to work on your pitch. Let us know. You can email us, and I will put the email address anna@coppergroup.com in our chat button. Okay, Michael, I think we have some questions. I'm going to stop the share.
All right.
And let's start. We have So Helpful, thank you.
Another happy birthday greeting to
yes,
Anna.
Yes. Oh yes. So any questions? Do you have your pitch? Do you want to throw your pitch at us?
I do. I have a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, Abigail.
Okay. How long does it depend on what you're pitching? I guess, how long should your pitch be overall?
Well, your pitch should be 2 minutes. That's the meat and potatoes. Your overall pitch should be 10 minutes altogether.
Okay.
If you're, and we've talked about this, we decided not to cover it in this particular webinar, but if you're doing the elevator kind of thing, yeah, it really has to be 1 to 2 minutes, and you better have a hook that gets them to stop for a moment and turn to you and ask a question. That's the technique for a good elevator pitch. But again, the same process. Here's the problem I'm focused on. Here's the solution I have. And this is the outcome I want to see for those I help. So that's, yeah, I think 10 minutes at best. And I see a colleague who's been in the classroom. I've been in the classroom. You know that you've got 5 minutes to hook the students in an hour class. If you don't hook them at the front end, you're going to lose them. They're going to do other work. You've probably been on Zooms like this, and you see a lot of windows that are, you've got a name, but there's no live person behind that. They may be doing other work if we haven't done a good job of attracting their attention. So that's the challenge in all of our world.
And I think, Michael, that's a good feedback that we may just put pitching to VCs or founders, like different type of VC, and we can go more in details how long you pitch and how to structure your pitch even. I mean, the whole pitch, because right now we are more of a pitching your business and service. It's more of the 2-minute solution, but it kind of in front of the VC, it's a little bit different. So we have some other additional questions, Michael. Do you have any advice for finding out what the customer's problems are?
I think you have to go out, and I'm an advocate of a particular approach called inside out, which means if you really want to understand the customers, you have to go look at them, watch them. I'm sorry, you have to observe them. And that's going to take some work, but it may be much more productive than a big pile of data that you're trying to analyze. Go out, watch what people are doing with that problem, and see the struggles they have. Where are they frustrated with a tool they're using? Where are they putting effort that you wouldn't want to have to put in? I'm thinking, for example, my daughter just bought something from Amazon. She doesn't fit. She's going to send it back. They've taken away my problem. I can drive over to Kohl's and hand it in with just a slip of paper and walk away. I don't have to do anything else. Now, it could be easier, but that's really easy for a return from an online purchase. That somebody saw that as a problem. Whoa, who's going to return anything? They're going to get frustrated. Amazon and Kohl's figured it out together. So you have to look around. You have to keep your eyes observing all the time to find a problem. And I think there are a lot out there. I see another one ask about humor playing into a pitch. Yeah, Shark Tank pitches can be pretty crazy. I have one thought, Anna. I don't know if you have any that you want to offer first on the humor.
You can go ahead, Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, the humor. I'm more of a meat and potato. I'm more of a
right.
Okay, drive it.
I read another piece. I work to help small business owners figure out big challenges that keep them awake at night. I'm thinking, how would if somebody turned around to me and said, "What do you do?" I had to come up with something funny. I thought, so I try not to cut my finger off with a pause. See, I'm a woodworker, and that's really important to woodworkers. It kind of ends what you're doing if you cut your finger off. But then I can say, but tell me, do small business owners ever get enough sleep at night? That's the hook. That's an odd question. And then I want to say, to meet the challenges they face, they need to keep their mind sharp. They can't be tired. The challenge that keeps waking you up at night is an issue for which you don't have a good answer. And then I can go on and talk about the kind of things I do by meeting with them, by having a conversation, that improvisational conversation we talked about in our pitch here. Open it up to questions and answers and get the conversation flowing, if you will. But humor is what grabs them at the beginning. So find a fun and unexpected way to answer that question. Well, what do you do? Or what problems do you solve? Or what is your business all about? I try not to cut my finger off. Oh no, that's woodworking. You're talking about the business services I provide.
Well,
You'll find.
I just wanted to add also is you have to be very careful with the humor. What type of product or services you're offering also. Because for some particular services, you will not be able to bring humor into the conversation. You may be able, in fact, I will be more inclined hearing you scaring the customers at the beginning with the problem they have, and sometimes exaggerating the problem they have just to attract their attention, just to be more dynamic, and then to your solution. Because think about, if you scare them with the problem they have in kind of a little bit exaggerated, and then you're coming with your product, and that will pretty much their savior. And at the end, don't forget about putting together a bright picture. Who will not? I mean, you pretty much, I mean, they're scared, you're solving their problem, and they're happy at the end. Who will not follow this storyline? So think about your storyline and make sure that you think about what products and services you're offering too, because in some cases, like Michael is saying, yes, humor is very, I mean, you can hook them up, but for some services, you may, you have to be careful with some services and products. That is my opinion.
And I'll go back to the way we opened this. We said that data tells us that there's a 50-50 chance our small business might not be around in 5 years. The worst way I could have started that said, hey, you're all going to fail. Now we're going to help you. That wouldn't have done it. You'd have been kind of turned off. But notice right away, I said this webinar is dedicated to helping you improve on that statistic. We don't want you to fail. So I'm kind of back to what Anna's saying. Don't threaten the audience. Offer them some hope even as you present the problem. And if there's a chance, another good thing, by the way, is to tell a story that helps. And that's where you might find a bit of fun. Other questions?
Well, we have 4 more minutes.
Yeah, and we'll be very patient.
Oh, I'm going to make sure that I share. Okay, if you would like our worksheet, please email us and we will email it to you, and we will send you the recording. So if you would like to see it again, more than welcome. We are hoping that you receive some information today. Please make sure to give us your feedback, because we want to improve. If you don't like something, or if you would like something to be better, let us know, because we want to support you in your needs and solve your problems.
And there's another question there from Peggy, going off what Anna just stated about scaring someone. Remind us what the history is in regards to what sells best. I think it's really understanding the need of the customer. When I started out earlier saying you need to observe and understand how that customer is trying to solve a problem, it's going to give you lots of understanding in terms of how to approach them. They don't care about your product. They care about a solution that can help them. That's what's really important. So I'm back to if somebody says, I've got this great razor to sell you, who cares? Well, here's how we make it. I don't care. Your face will look shaved in the morning. Oh, I want to, tell me more. Tell me more. So a very simple example, but I think it sells best when you understand their problem and put it in their terms.
Very, very much so. Very simple terms. I mean, because sometimes with our pitch, we overuse the technicality of our product. Who cares? They want simple. How are you solving my pain or my problem? And I want you to tell me in a very normal terms I can understand. And as you know, for me, English is not my primary language, so I love simplicity. So not that I don't know some big words. Yes, I do, and I understand them. But simplicity always sells better than overcomplicated words.
And as you might know, I come from an academic background, unfortunately. So I use too many words and too many big words, and I get into too much complication. This whole webinar today is kind of playing off of my tendencies and how I need to correct myself, not to get into the heavy language and the big presentation. Do it quick and simple. Thank you, Anna, for helping sharpen me in the way I do things.
And thank you to all of you for joining us today. We'll have another webinar next month, and it will be about customers. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for joining us.
Happy birthday, Anna.
Oh, thank you, Betsy.
I love it.